Threads of Gold. Today's guests include a childhood cancer survivor and his mom. They are the founders of Gold Together for Childhood Cancer at the American Cancer Society. They are also a contributor to this storybook, Stories Round the Campfire. Thank you for joining us today, and please welcome Cole Eicher and Laura Eicher. Welcome, Cole and Laura, to Threads of Gold. We're going to start with you, Cole. All right. And then we're going to transition over to your mom. But let's just start out because y'all are the founders of Gold Together. And I want to get to how that happened. And it all begins with you. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about your current life, Cole?
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, Dana Sue, thank you so much for having us on this podcast. And we're really excited to be featured on here, sharing a little bit about our inspiration and our story as well. Like again, my name is Cole, and I am close to turning 24 in September. I'm 23 currently right now. I'm starting my own new position that I'm fresh out of college. I'm working for Raymond James Financial. It's my first full-time job post-graduation. I got a marketing degree at the University of South Florida here in Tampa, pretty close to where we are right now. And I've basically lived and grew up in Florida my whole life. I really enjoy the weather here. The beaches are amazing, and the sporting events are just wonderful here. So in my free time as well, is I love and enjoy playing golf. Snorkeling is also a cool hobby that I have, and I really just the heart of my is volunteering. So want to end with that.
Yes, and you volunteer a great deal, and we're going to get to that, but let's go back in time just a little bit, if you don't mind, to the age of 12 and what happened in your life. Can you talk about that cancer journey?
Yeah, of course. So, like you mentioned, I was 12 years old. You can really see and understand that a 12-year-old kid is just very healthy, happy, playing any sport that he would like. Mine was soccer. I loved playing soccer at the time. And actually, a fun fact to me is at 7 years old, I was blessed to be a print model and also an actor for Disney, Marriott, Walmart, Target, and some European country companies that came here. Big kind of industry around our area was in Orlando and Miami. And so I was at that age where I went to school, and in the back of my mind, I always knew that maybe I would have a half day of school just because mom or dad would pull me out for an audition or a print ad that I would have, and we would go to Orlando and Miami. So it was really kind of a fun fact that I have, just a nice little blessing that I had as well when I was younger. But it did come to a big surprise when I was 12 years old. Then again, I was healthy, happy, playing with my friends, going to school. But weird thing happened is I started feeling a little headaches, nausea, vomiting, just some weird stuff that no kid really at that age should be having. And I was really healthy. So I started to experience actually some double vision not soonly after that. And my eye doctor really scheduled an MRI at that time. And you could clearly see that there was a golf ball sized tumor in the back of my brain. It was called medulloblastoma, which is the most common type of pediatric brain cancer. Quickly after, thankfully, I was told that I had a treatment plan. Not a lot of people have treatment plans that I've learned for kids our age, but thankfully, people invested in research for my specific type of cancer years ago for me to have a fighting chance back. So, this was a 9-month treatment plan that consisted of radiation, surgery, and chemotherapy. And I was very blessed as well because, I had a local hospital that really could care for me and was so close to me. There's a lot of the families and friends that I've learned throughout and sort of, just came across all of my childhood cancer experience that they just have to travel a long ways for their treatment. So I was very thankful for that in this whole time of area of just thinking about this. I always try to think about the positives and not the negatives because there are a lot of negatives, but there are a lot of positives. And one thing that I really took to mind is always just thinking, taking one day at a time with everything that was going on.
Yeah. Yes, gosh, one of the things that I love about you, Cole, and this is true of you too, Laura, y'all are both so positive. You do see the positives in things. And I always tell people when I'm describing you, y'all remind me of the sunshine in Florida. You're full of energy and warmth, and you just love everybody, and you wrap us all up in that warm love. And I know y'all are so humble, you don't like to hear good things about yourself, but just had to throw that out there. And Laura, real quick, I just want to ask if you don't mind, you're the mom. You've got a 12-year-old with cancer. What was it like for you and your husband?
Well, we hadn't known anyone who had gone through childhood cancer, so it was new to us. So, you feel as a caregiver that you just have to take it in as fast as you can, be a really quick learner, and figure out the questions to ask. And of course, knowing that there was a treatment plan was a huge relief because we really believed in that. I mean, it was an 80% chance of survival, so that's pretty strong statistics. Um, and we just clung to that and did what they wanted us to do. But at the same time, we're like, I think we are both poised to do more, not just to get through this, but to learn more, do more, help more. And so helping heals. And so that really helped us as caregivers to get through it. And thankfully, Cole was very willing and wanting to do that. So we took his lead, and that was it was a good experience because he wanted to be doing things as well and helping others.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question about, where and Cole, I'm shooting this question at you right now, the desire to serve, to be a part of a mission. Can you talk about how, even as a child, that started developing in you?
Of course, yeah, great question. It really hit hard when I heard those three words, you have cancer, because I thought it was a joke at the time. I thought that, cancer was for older people, not for younger people, not for kids like my age as well. So I was really shocked about that. And then I'm very faithful based. So I really leaned on God and, His purpose and His plan is always great and always good. So I knew that, there was a purpose for this, there was a plan, and there was something that was going to beautifully come out of this. So I trusted in Him at that time. But really, where the awareness came from is when of course, they diagnose you. They put you in a hospital bed. They put you on basically a pediatric oncology floor that usually has the same amount of people that at least what you're experiencing with on that floor. And everyone on my floor were kids. It was a kids' hospital, and all of them had some type of cancer that they were diagnosed. And you know, quickly for brain cancer, I remember that I only had 3 days or so before I had my initial surgery for brain surgery. So it was pretty quick, and we were really trying to get a lot of people to see me as soon as they can because my mom and dad had to sign off on papers knowing that, I might not be the same person coming out of this surgery. So Every family member, every person was just trying to come and see me on that floor. And thankfully, I was a soccer kid, so I always wanted to stay active. And so I was walking around on that floor. And what really struck me as a powerful image is every area on that floor was filled with kids. And one of the rooms that I looked into, there was just a baby in a crib, a baby. And at the time it was midday, so there was no one in there. Mom and dad were probably needing to be at work somewhere else and not being there. And yes, this is an image and that I had, but it really struck to me that, these kids are so young at their time, and how can they really bring awareness and attention to this cause while they're so young? Because it's a very important cause, and people just need to understand the need and awareness for this. So at that time, I really just reflected on my experiences as, being a model and liking to be in that area of realm. Also, I was a captain on my soccer team and always led people to success on that. So I really took myself after the fact when I was thinking that I would get through this and would be all done, that I really would want to be the voice for these kids when I would get through this brain cancer battle, and really be serving as a voice for them because they're just so young and they need the awareness and the attention.
You're so very mature for a 12-year-old that you were back then. I mean, that's impressive. And that image you just painted of that baby and that story you told, this is so important for people to understand why we say we have to be their voices. You're right, they can't speak for themselves. We have to speak for them and on their behalf. And you certainly have taken that charge and you've really made a huge movement in pediatric cancer. So let's talk for just a minute about your involvement with Relay for Life at the American Cancer Society, because that's what really launched this passion of yours with Gold Together.
Yeah, of course. So when I was still in treatment, I still had that vision. I was like trusting in God. I'm going to get through this. There's going to be an out. But actually, so winding back a little bit, my grandma, 1 year before I was diagnosed with my cancer, she was actually diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And unfortunately, it's a very hard cancer. She passed at that time. And as an 11-year-old, it was really emotional to me to lose my grandmother at such a young age. And I really was trying to just figure out how I can move my emotions, really how I can really support her in that piece. And so my mom and dad had a great idea of, they understood that there was a Relay for Life event that was close to us. And so I put together and called my friends and created a team. And so we basically just honored her that year. But it was an interesting transition because shortly after I was diagnosed, after that first event that I had at Relay for Life, and I was already planning on going there next year. And now that I was diagnosed, there was more of an emphasis around childhood cancer at the time because honestly, all my friends, when I told them that I was diagnosed or they heard themselves that I was diagnosed with cancer, they were confused as much as I was. They didn't really know how to really support me or really even know what to do and how to react from that news. And so this was a nice piece for everyone to just come at this event and really have time for me to spend time with them, but also for them to know the awareness of, yes, kids can get cancer, but it's more of a big thing that anyone can get cancer at this time. And it was just a really nice event for everyone to come to, that they could support me at that time. And it was really empowering as well.
Did you come up with the name Gold Together?
Well, actually, we did, yes. So how that came apart is, of course, gold is the ribbon color for childhood cancer. We like to say that it's pretty easy to think that breast cancer, everyone knows that that's October and that's the pink ribbon. Just apply it to childhood cancer. So it's the same exact thing. We have an awareness month, which is in September, quickly coming up here. And our ribbon color is gold. So the gold came from that, and the together is we're all in this together. This fight is all of us. So that's where it came from. Gold together for childhood cancer.
Yes, I love the name of it. And so now and just kind of it suddenly took off. I mean, this whole concept of going to Relay for Life events, which are purple, and just adding a splash of gold by having teams sign up for that relay wherever it is in the country and forming a Gold Together team. And the way that all came about was you went to the then CEO of American Cancer Society and asked him if he could make it a national thing. And what was that meeting like?
That meeting was an amazing meeting, but I just want to tell you quickly and move back a little bit because it was a lot of time that it took to become to where that meeting came from. As I mentioned, I felt very supported and empowered through that event, and kind of making and changing our team to really be supporting childhood cancer, because the whole kind of event is sort of empowering anyone that has cancer and anyone that's going through it right now. But I really quickly understood that I was really the only child that was at that event. And it was interesting because, uh, like, when I was getting treated, there was so many of these kids having cancer, but yet there was no one at this event that was young enough, like I am, to feel supported in everything. So that's where I kind of took the initiative of really thinking like, shoot, we got to have this, nationally. We got to make this a little bit more because when I was at that event, I felt so supported and empowered, and I wanted other kids that are going through what I've gone through to have that same exact experience. So I just took it upon ourselves. I went up to, I told my mom and dad that, that felt really great. Let's just try to see if there's any other support and movement to maybe others that are wanting this in their own community as well. So after that event, we really we called it a test pilot program, and we really took some different areas in the southeast to pilot this Gold Together program for 3 years. It took a lot of work, and it took a lot of just people knowing the awareness of what we were doing at that time. And it really caught on, though. I mean, we understood that there was a lot of movement where people really wanted to have this Gold Together team at their local Relay for Life event. So with all that research that we had, we really were like, well, this should be really a national program. So we went to some local people that employees that were working for the American Cancer Society and were supporting this Gold Together national program. Well, it wasn't national at the time, but just this pilot program that we had. And we said, we need to make this national. We need to have a meeting with our CEO, Gary Reedy, at the time, to because he's the really person that can uh, make this a reality. So that's where you just ask your question about, how this kind of meeting came up and everything. And so that's basically why we had this meeting with Gary Reedy, the CEO at American Cancer Society at that time. And it was a big thing for me. I mean, honestly, looking back at it, whenever I'm telling this story, it just is mind-boggling of how young I was to really have a meeting with him. Of course, my mom was there in support and helped me out with this meeting, but we flew up to headquarters, which is in uh, it was where was that?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Thank you, Mom. It was in Atlanta at the time and still is today. And yeah, it was a big meeting, but people always ask me, "Man, like, how did you do that at such a young age?" And at the time, I didn't probably understand what a CEO meant. I didn't know how big of a role that was in a company. And so I didn't really understand at that time. But the second thing that I really always say is that I wasn't doing this for me. I was doing this for other kids that wanted to have the same impact. Um, I, I'm sure that, I've listened to your other podcasts, and future podcasts that will probably be shared as well, is there's a community agreement, or something for the childhood cancer community, is that we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for the kids that will be in the future, of going through all of this. So that's kind of my mentality for this as well, is that it wasn't for me, but I needed to man up and do this just because it will help so many others in the future.
Gosh, we need more people like you, unafraid. And yes, you were going and being the voice of that little baby that you saw in the hospital when you were sick. You were being the voice for all of those kids. And as you mentioned, future kids, because sometimes, like, I know my husband Bill and I, we will look back at some of the work we've done fundraising for various organizations, and during the midst of all of that fundraising, we kind of didn't recognize its impact. But then fast forward to where we are today, and the improvements in therapies and technologies are a result of all of that hard work from back then. So, what we're doing now, I can't wait to see the future. I think it's a bright future. I think we'll see more and more progress. So, back again to your meeting with the CEO, Gary. Um, and he's not the CEO now, right? This was way back.
Yes, yeah. Things have
So
changed a little bit.
yeah, which that's normal. But I'm sure, how does no one can resist a kid walking in there who is a survivor of brain cancer himself saying, we need more attention for kids. I mean, I'm sure he was very receptive, obviously, because look what was created out of it. What was that like?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was honestly a blessing to have, because of course we needed to have a presentation to show that there was a need to have gold together teams nationally. I mean, that's why we had the pilot program. So we showed those numbers, we showed those statistics, we showed the amount that we raised throughout that campaign. So of course, you need the passion, but you also need to show that there is a need for it. And thankfully, we had both of those things. And quickly after, he said that magic word yes to be a national program for American Cancer Society. So back in 2018 in November, it was officially Gold Together was a national program for American Cancer Society. So there was a big win for us. We wanted to partner with them because they're such a big organization, that we could do the greatest amount of good in the shortest amount of time for the most amount of kids. So that's why we partnered with them, and the rest has been history. We've been growing increasingly as much. We have a Gold Together Advisory Council, which I want to thank you, Dana Sue, and also your husband, Bill, you are both very active on that and helping us out to grow this national initiative. So I want to thank you for that as well.
Yeah, we love being a part of it. Laura, real quick, I'm going to ask you because so now this all was in 2018 when it began, and at the time you were not on the staff with American Cancer Society, correct?
Yes, right. I was a volunteer.
So, but then quickly as this thing grew, you joined the staff,
Hmm.
and just what are some of the ways that now I know that even before Gold Together, American Cancer Society was funding pediatric cancer
Yes.
research. They've always done that. That's
Yes.
not new, but this just propelled it and made it a bigger splash of gold across the nation. But what are some of the ways that ACS is supporting pediatric cancer currently?
Sure. You are right in that the relay events, a portion of what was raised there goes to all different types of cancer research. Some might be some breast cancer, might be prostate, and some are definitely childhood cancer and AYA cancer research. Some of just a general donation that goes on the website would also come to childhood cancer as well. So there was always funding, but they were a little quiet about it. Some companies don't like to say, "Look at us, look what look what we're doing." They were more like, as a whole, this is what we're doing. But for those families who have lost a child, especially a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, they wanted to say, "I want to vote, I want to donate my time." And I want it to go to childhood cancer. And if I raise money, I want it to go to childhood cancer. So the unique thing that happened was in those 3 years, we were testing restriction to childhood cancer at a Relay for Life event. And what was nice about that is that the event had some expenses, but the event in general was paying for those expenses so that everything that was raised for the Goal Together team was dedicated to childhood cancer. So we could say that 100% of what was raised was going. And that was so meaningful to parents to hear that. And so that was really the big kind of turn in that had never been tested before, but they wanted to test it. The timing was right to test it when Cole was bringing this forward. So there's that. And then, so like, currently, if you think about, we're really proud. We have 86 grants right now. As of February 2025, 86 grants dedicated to childhood cancer and AYA cancer. And it's $51 million. So we don't raise $51 million at with Gold Together. We're a portion of that. And I would say a very small portion. It's a few million, dollars that go in there. So that shows you how significant the general funding is. When someone makes a general donation, then there is a significant amount that is going. But again, when there are lots of people that want to know specifically, how can I, do something for childhood cancer? So this area that Relay is in is really the development, they call it pillar. And that's the people that are in the community doing things with the community, like galas, breast cancer walks, and also a relay and the determination races, etc. But there's lots of other areas within American Cancer Society that are dedicated to childhood cancer as well. For example, there's a program. Of course, our 800 number is open to anyone who calls it and has questions. It was really important during COVID. But for childhood cancer, it can be important all the time because a grandparent sometimes isn't in that conversation with the doctor. An aunt or uncle is like, "I'm sorry, what is stem cell transplant? I don't understand that. What's happening?" Why do they have to be isolated? All those questions. And so they can call at any time and get those questions answered and be an additional source of support. So that plus some other patient support programs, um, plus other things that we don't have time to talk about today, but that's in general, what is happening. But my focus was to help grow the Goal Together initiative. And initially, when I came on board as staff, it was to educate the staff about how important this is and how they could help activate this in their communities. And so it was such a joy to be able to really, again, be the voice for the kids and those parents within staff. And, our employees are just like anything else out there in the community. They also had grandchildren who were diagnosed. One employee that I'm working with right now had her own child passed from cancer. So a great deal of the employees really wanted this and wanted to have something to help their communities engage. It is all about the volunteers. We can only do things when volunteers step up and help us. So, should no one ever want to do something for childhood cancer, then this would go away. But because we're trying to get the word out there and really grow it, we have had some growth, and we're excited about that. But there still is so much to do, and it really comes from our volunteers doing just a little something to help.
Yeah. Well, and for anyone who is watching this on YouTube, I will have the link up there on the screen. But if you're just listening on a podcast app, go to cancer.org/gold together and you can find out how you can get involved too. And I want to get to the book in just a minute, the stories around the campfire. But first, Laura, I would like to talk about Gold Together Day, which is coming up, and how people can donate on that special day.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, Goal Together Day is really fun for us because we've really had a vision where we've seen that other things have, of course, childhood cancer has a month, um, but sometimes it's nice to just have a day to focus. A company might want to be involved on just one day, or a school wants to have a dress down day, that kind of thing. So we realize that the importance of a day can really kick off more activity. So September 10th is the day to mark your calendars for. That's our Goal Together Day. And that's an example again of how volunteers are so important with American Cancer Society because it's them that are activating during the day, during that day, as well as our staff, to really show that awareness. And also say, you know what, let's just take a day to fundraise for the kids. The childhood cancer teams, as Cole talked about, they, through Relay for Life, raise funds year long. All their monies are dedicated to childhood cancer. But what's special about Goal Together Day, the September 10th, is that every single relay throughout the entire United States, so there's 1,000 plus relays, that's campuses as well as communities, they're all going to raise money on that day, all dedicated to childhood cancer. So big, huge gold shining that gold light on it. And what we really hope is that those families do feel seen and they feel supported and that they want to jump in and feel empowered and participate in any way that feels comfortable to them. We are trying to raise close to $250,000 that will, help keep our research going. So it's a significant amount. And one of the areas that's super kind of gratifying is seeing all of our college students get involved and they're just so creative and they do really fun, graphics and their passion is there because they were in school with kids, that had cancer or they had a cousin. And so, this allows for them to have some expression. It's 1 in 257 kids are diagnosed with cancer, that, Dana Sue. And before the age of 20, so, a school that has 1,000 kids has 4 kids, there, and then that's some siblings and some cousins and classmates. And so it really is, it really affects people more than we see on the surface. And so we're really excited to amplify this day and see how it grows. So September 10th.
Yeah.
Mark your calendars.
Everybody needs to go. Like I always say, our children are more precious than gold. So go donate your gold to Gold Together. Help us bring an end to pediatric cancer. Mark your calendar September 10th. And we're gonna spray it out all over our LinkedIn and social media and all of that and just remind people, hey y'all, kids get cancer. Let's bring it to an end. And then I want to kind of touch on the book that's so precious and close to my heart, Stories Round the Campfire. I wanted to do that book for such a long time, but it was that so many things just held me back, publishing other books and trying to get a lot of things done. But this is a storybook collection. 100% of the proceeds are donated to Gold Together for Childhood Cancer, and it's a collection of stories and art done by the pediatric cancer community, which is mostly kids with cancer and their siblings. Although in your case, Cole, your cousin participated doing the art for your story, and your story is the first one in the book because it talks about the gold ribbon. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your story?
Of course, I would love to, and thank you for that good transition. So talking about the inspiration of this story, like I said, lot of great stories in this. But for my story, um, it really came to heart when I was thinking about symbols. I've always looked at everything going around childhood cancer, and the one constant thing that I really just remember a lot and is very powerful is the gold ribbon and and how powerful it can be to bring a lot of awareness. I was also thinking because it's like when I was going all throughout my Gold Together program, making it national, people need to know what is going on before they will donate, before they will support anything. So I think that the awareness piece is a very important piece for everyone to know about. So this just shines a little bit about how the gold ribbon is just so powerful and something so small can make a big difference. And so I'm really happy to make this come alive in this camp stories around the campfire book that we have. And its purpose really stems from the gold ribbon and the main story character, sorry, of Grace. The other thing that I want to share too about it is, like you mentioned, my cousin Hannah. She is a very talented person when it comes to illustration. So she illustrated everything that you will see picture-wise in the story. So I'm just really grateful that this is actually her first publication. So thank you, Dana Sue, for making this happen.
It's her first, but not last. In fact, she did art for another one of the stories in that same book, and currently Hannah is working on another children's book that we hope comes out in October, as well as a coloring book. And I mean, I don't know how artists do it, because I've said this before, but like I just look at it and I think I just go, wow, that's awesome. But Hannah sees every little tiny detail, and we'll get like I'll get an email from Hannah saying, I updated this because I saw this little tiny shadow over here or this little tiny color, and I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of it. Hannah's amazing. And I hope that we can have a podcast strictly about art someday and have all of our illustrators come on and talk about the beautiful art in so many of our books. But this book, it's kind of got a theme. It's all about sitting around a campfire and eating s'mores. And we even have a little s'mores recipe and camping ideas that you can do, even if you can't like really go camping. Like, here's how you can pretend go camping in the hospital or at home, and here's how you can make s'mores without a fire. But it's all about sharing stories with your family around a campfire. And you kind of are using this as part of a fundraising package, right, Cole?
Yeah, definitely. By the way, just moving a little bit back, I love the theme of this book and
Mhm.
the title of it, Stories Around the Campfire. I think it's a great thing for kids to understand that, yeah, you can have fun wherever you want. Uh, you don't need a fire or anything. It's a really nice book just to read and for kids to understand a little bit more about awareness for childhood cancer. So yeah, going back to it, how I'm promoting it is going back to one of my things that I always really like to do is fundraising. So I have a sort of a fundraising campaign that I always put on in September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, to create more awareness for the cause. And so I'm raffling off it with a s'mores kit. So I reach out to a lot of my family members, a lot of friends as well, and a lot of my business connections to really ask for a donation, just because I'm going to be raffling off 10 signed books this September during the month-long fundraising campaign that I'm putting in. And whoever donates will have an entry, and I'm excited to see where it goes and hope they're going to be, it's going to be really good. It's going to be a good campaign.
I think so too. I love it. And I think it's fun. And we have to bring the fun back to fundraising, right? So,
I
which
love that.
I don't, most people don't think it's fun, but they just don't understand that it really can be. It can, you just got to get creative and remember that you're not asking for people to give you money. You're asking people to donate their money to save the lives of children, to improve therapies, and to make it where even the children who survive are not suffering from long-term and late effects like they currently are. And this is what progress looks like. Is there anything that I missed that I needed to chat with y'all about? I think
Uh,
we covered it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
did a good job. Mom, can you think of anything?
Well, I think people always say, where can we get in touch or, what could I do? So with those areas, just really know that, Cole, you always use the phrase, everybody can do something, right? So, like we have volunteers who make, I know it might be hard, I might bring my camera down, make the gold ribbons. And some of them are retired teachers, some are students who need service hours. We have quite a few of them over the summer who make these ribbons. So, something as simple as that. Um, to again starting that goal together team in your community. We're only in 15% of the community, so we've got 85% of like 850 more events that we really could use representation at. So that would be, a big thing. And then also, I know Dana Sue, I've heard you mention in some other podcasts how important you feel advocacy is. And we feel the same way. And so at fightcancer.org. That's the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. And when you go to the tab that says what we do, there's a section for childhood cancer. So you can see a little bit there. But just signing up for the emails that come a couple times a year and from your home, you simply push a button and a letter is all populated for you, going right to your representatives. And it's saying, please do not cut cancer research. And then you can put in there specifically, don't Medicaid. Did you realize, 1 in 3 children rely on Medicaid, to when they're fighting cancer, or you can just put your own little custom in there. But regardless, you could just send it as is. And that couple of minutes really makes a big difference. So those would be a couple of things what to do. And the final one is that the staff at American Cancer Society are always open to talking to you about what you might want to do in your community because, we have someone who is doing a gold baseball game, at their college or, others do wine tasting at their home, golf tournaments. It is just small to big, anything in between. The staff is there to support you in what you want to do. And so don't ever underestimate what you can do. That's the kind of the big story of Cole is more like, look, if a kid can do it, you can do it. And it shows the power of the volunteer and the
Absolutely.
volunteer voice.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I don't, where I live, we don't currently have a relay
Right,
group here, but I'm fundraising for Gold
right.
Together. Bellasteri is donating through, like you said, setting up our own type of event. For ours, it's a reading challenge. And so, yeah, get creative. There are all different ways
Mhm.
that you can make a choice to make a
Yeah.
change for the lives of children with cancer. I want to thank you both again for joining me today. Y'all mean the world to me, and I'll see you soon in Washington, D.C. at CureFest. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana Sue.
Thank you again to Cole and Laura Eicher for visiting with me today and sharing about Gold Together for Childhood Cancer. You can learn more by visiting cancer.org/gold together. You can also head to bellasteri.com to our resources page and learn more about how to get involved in advocacy through ACS Cancer Action Network. And you can follow along to see the progress for the Gold Together Day at ACS. Remember, that is September 10th, and all of the funds donated to Relay for Life that day are restricted to childhood cancer. What a great thing. And last thing, don't forget to go to bellasteri.com to our bookstore and buy this book, Stories Round the Campfire. 100% of book sale proceeds are being donated to Gold Together for Childhood Cancer. Thank you for joining us today and have a great day.